My body's all she knows of the world, her turning all I know of her body. Aristophanes' lovers, all roundness and limbs, were a meld of selves. The gods will split, skin to skin. Heartbeats joined, one animal. Soon, two horses running. Two, split to two. While I am still your newt, your night, some star-clad goddess arching above and around you, my voice, your thunder, my blood, your cloak, as you, small sun god, tunnel to light, quicken and twist in this pitch once more. That light will blind and part us. Woman dancing on her son's coffin. From a black and white photograph at the House of Dance and Feathers, New Orleans, 1995. She is not in black, not weeping, not leaning against someone as she staggers drunk with grief. No. She dances on top of her son's coffin, outside the Lafitte projects where he was gunned down. She dances and dances, unbending, limbs thrashing like Kali on Shiva's ashen body. Gray clothes, are they sweats? Sway in the sun-blasted noon as her two living boys make music around her. D-boy gone. Who that killed D-boy? Who first told her the news? She can't. Some funneled shape his horn won't blow. No lace, no shawl across her shoulders, bare-armed, back-cocked, ass out, she dances, yes. Another thud of percussion, no, she grunts, pushing him out, ripping open at charity, fluorescent lights backlighting his arched shape, bright slash of the trumpet. He burns with fever, laughs at ice tracing the pouting lips. Late July, night blooming jasmine thick in the mouth. I grab another sliver, slap or snare. No, she does. It's her boy, a number now, pushing up the murder graph like a thermometer. Oh, mama, mama. Men hauling the casket bend at the knees, not from weight, but from bass thump, from tuba's fat momentum. Her sweat shifts soft and loose as they play it loose and mean, a threat in the throb, the trombone moan. She's gone. Past shiver, past flash of brass glint and casket shine underneath her feet. She shakes her head. Look, she's turning to look into everyone's face. Juanina, so had government Egypt. 2 months since her birth, when we cut the cord, packed it in salt to carry here, to the edge of a field, to the 3 palm trees that stand like sentries in your dreams of exile. Weak from heat, I drag beside you, the baby tied to my side with a strip of cloth. Her small weight presses against me, familiar, right. This land bears the name of your father, though he gave it away as if it were a handful of beans. Nothing of him remains among these caves of mummified falcons, flecks of golden text that flutter to dust when a field boy breaks a seal. You've never even seen pictures of his face. They scattered when they burned, or did you say they were stolen? The village women say he etched a warrior saint into his forearm, that he fled with Sufi singers, that he gave as freely to others as blood gifts, as you do. We look into the tall stalks and their rows of shadow. I stand between our child and what tethered her to me, shriveled and tough in my palm. In different tongues, not to each other, not to the sky where the tilted dipper keeps pouring out its ladlefuls of light. We say our piece to the rope of salt we toss into the wheat. This earth will swallow it up. As you sleep, the dead multiply. Sometimes when I see you, weeks old, swaddled in sleep, I think of shrouded children lowered into pine crates, the trenches gouged, the day darkening under rising billows. As you sleep, the dead multiply, their faces repeating like ceramic casts, your unlined forehead, your proud nose. I study the flutter of your breath, your arms folded by your sides, your ear that could fit in a thimble. Your infant face is still like glass as the children of Cana are wiped of their dust. As you sleep, the missiles scatter like seed fall, flaming on Fallujah, where the men dig up flower beds to make room for children who rest there, side by side in their wrappings like ears of corn. I'll read a couple newer poems. This is a poem in the form of sapphics, which are metered poem, trochees and dactyls, and I needed to have that. We talked earlier about containers, and I needed that container to write about this. Sapphics for the Syrian drowned. Ocean laps the body, the Velcro shows shoes still fastened. Someone carefully dressed him. Journey planned not long, not terribly long. The smugglers promised a yacht, but brought a raft which capsized. The photo shows a sleeping child, a touristic beach. We know now, Alan Kurdi drowned like his brother. Only the father lived. If I could transfer my breath to them, they told him drowning's peaceful. He'll cling to that. So many worse ways, God knows, he knows. Kobani's jail where his teeth were plucked by Assad's torture machines. Then ISIS came and torched what ruins remained. A neighbor's brother's head arrived on the stoop one morning. So many worse ways. There are tens of thousands of them that force the fleeing masses, Lesbos and Kos exploding, razor wire at borders as news feeds name these refugees migrants. And I also thought of sapphics because they began in Lesbos, and I kept thinking about Sappho and that the way I've only known that island in imagination from poetry, and how there's so much suffering. And this poem, Richard mentioned earlier, an acrostic poem, that I saw a sketch of the final poem, or final painting is Bonaparte visiting the victims of the plague of Jaffa. And it's a giant painting in the Louvre, and I guess one of the great paintings of Western civilization. And it was propaganda for Napoleon, and an early sketch of it is in the New Orleans Museum of Art in their Orientalism exhibit. So there's a lot in the sketch that didn't really make it into the painting. And I was thinking about that. Even the title was different, The Pest House at Jaffa. Before the Emperor's commission was presented at the Paris Salon, before the Louvre, more plague victims clot the edges of the sketch, and there's no glimpse of an outside, as in the painting, a distant burning, a French flag against the dust. The country of the sick is a small one, and borders nothing. In sallow air, the dying blur into their own green shadows. A figure falls into a sea of half-robed bodies, arms fixed in a crossless crucifixion. Beige and brown smudges, Syrian? French? Reach up to the soldiers as if to beg. Whoever they are won't make it to the final version. Will we paint it over with the bodies the artist chooses to save? Two colorful locals who proffer bread, the afflicted soldiers whose buboes the leader, oh so mercifully, reaches out to touch. I wrote this poem back in, I think, 2001, 2002, and it's about the person who's now my husband. We were good friends and getting to know each other at that time, and I've been thinking a lot about that time because he's Egyptian, and the rhetoric right now is seems to me even worse than it was then, and I didn't realize that how much I thought it had gotten better until it got so much worse. fruits at the brink of war. You bring me figs and dates from Morocco, a chunk of amber to rub on my skin, sandalwood from the Sudan where its scent is synonymous with sex. I wash my hair in its smoke as it rises to the heavens. Egypt is a woman who always walks away, you say, hiding her face in her scarf. She gives you the edge you're afraid to fall off, and the brother who burned in your arms to burn in your mind. In a silver pot you see leaves of Louisa, and mint you regret is not fresh. Pour it into painted cups and tell me of the children of the desert, whose skin is the color of mine, of others who call themselves the people of the wind. We speak of our countries and the fields of food mine takes from yours, of troops that thicken like swarms of locusts, and you pour more tea, shift the coals in the shisha, sing in a language I don't know. A flagless land. Take me to the time before we knew, when you whipped the air to keep birds from being blooms. Swarms of crows thicken on the branch, copters hack the night. It falls in pieces at our feet. Fire feeds on the surface of the water, no way to put it out, nowhere for flocks to land. They circle and circle as we search the map, the lines of our palms for fields of wheat that burst into flames, for a shrine on the tracks where a saint caught a bomb in his hands. Elegy for the New Year. Times Square on one screen, the newly engaged, the hanging ball. You on Skype. In Egypt, it's dawn. You say, a bomb. Nuts and rusty ball bearings sprayed into a crowd 2 minutes after your midnight. Christians, you whisper, during Mass. Streets empty, streets filled with shouts and tear gas, the blast on YouTube, the makeshift body bags, Alexandria, the neighborhood next to our first apartment. Some didn't know yet in the city, sky blasting in the distance, just another burst of fireworks. Everyone tossing trash from balconies, trash of the old year, toasting the clean blank page of what's next on television. The anchor wisecracks. The smell of confetti is awful. Have you ever noticed? He asks a couple. The ticker tape gives no mention. Here in America, Christians, you say. Alexandria, burnt volumes, burnt streets, burnt the painted fishing boats. The smell of confetti, the anchor says. Bomb, you say. On the screen, the couple's kiss. I've been reading the Chilean poet Nicanor Parra, emergency poems, because it seemed like it was a good time to read emergency poems. And I was reminded of this poem that inspired a poem of mine, so I thought I'd read him first. I know it's a better poem. Warnings. No praying aloud, no sneezing. No spitting, eulogizing, kneeling, worshiping, howling, expectorating. No sleeping permitted in this precinct. No inoculating, talking, excommunicating, harmonizing, escaping, catching. Running is absolutely forbidden. No smoking, no fucking. Warning. The revolution is not good for personal hygiene. Not good for sleep, not good for business. The revolution is not good for bill paying, not good for fornication, for beard trims. The revolution is not good for moderates of any stripe. Not good for tending lettuces. Not good for shoe soles. The revolution is not good for any skin condition or back problem. Not good for aversion to the cold and wet or hot and dry. It is not good for thirst, for calling your grandmother, for hard drives or phone chargers. Not good for relieving yourself, for getting your hair cut, your teeth pulled, your prescription filled. It is not good for uninterrupted television viewing, for buying bathing suits, for the cost of bread or beef, or good lawyers, if there are any unjailed and able. It is not good for schoolwork, for square meals, Not good for novels, or symphonies, or murals in oils, or acrylics. It is not good for blind studies, though poetry is fine. Thank you for laughing. That's like my only funny moment. And I'll close with this one because Melissa said that she liked it, so thank you. And it's the last poem in the book. Fire on the prophet's face. A weightless child thrashes limbs too small to be felt in the small lake of a mother. Fur shivers on a coupling fox, and a bowl of fire lights the prophet's face in a branch-hidden cavern. Banyan roots tunnel, potato fists unfold in mute loam. A tumor blooms in a skull. The button click is quiet in the quiet room. Quiet, the signal to the unmanned drone. Words of revolution swirl through shisha smoke in coffee shops as teaspoons clink and stir. In the middle of earth, fire burns.